Welcome everybody at the very special edition of the Kazerne Design Awards. And isn't it good to be here, everybody? I'm going to promise you I'm not going to cry. Not yet, Annemoon, maybe later. But is it a joy to be here finally? The last few years, yeah. An applause for yourself. Very good, very good. The last few years, we had some video links, and of course it was Corona, but we managed, and now we're here all together. All the designers are present. Designers, can you please stand up so we know where you are? Designers, yes. Okay, yeah, give me an applause. So tonight it's all about you. 9. It should be 10. One wasn't able to come here. And yeah, well, those are the post-corona rules. You got to be here to present your work. Everybody's got 4 minutes of presentation, and after that the jury will deliberate. That's sort of the scheme tonight. My name is Jeroen Junte. I will be the host of the evening, but that is of very minor importance. First, before we start, I'd like to thank the people who are really making this happening. Of course, Koen and Annemoon, but also, yes, but also, of course, the Loyola Foundation, who for the last 3 years have generously funded and even initiated this award, and they're going to leave us. So, I'm looking around to see other captains here from Eindhoven, to see who can take over, but because I think this award really sort of made its name, and it really made its mark on the design world, and we had some tremendous winners the last years. Before we start, I'd like to introduce the jury of this edition. First of all, of course, Annemoon. There she is again. Anne Lichtenberg. Anne, could you stand up, please, so the people can see you just a little? She's a social designer and one of the founding people here in Eindhoven, always engaged with the design community, and they got the pen and the paper ready already. And of course, Kiki van Eijk, also one of the great names of the Eindhoven design community. And to be very honest, I'm not jealous of you, because I think it's a really hard job. We all seen the 9 projects here at the entrance, and they're very diverse. And of course, I mentioned, especially, that's why we're also grateful to the foundation, the Loyola Foundation, especially these designers who have been working alone, almost in lockdown, in social isolation, and 1.5 meter distance, working alone in their studios, no podium, nothing, and all of a sudden there was the Kazerne Design Awards where they could take the stage and the work was seen. And here present is one of the alumni winners of the Kazerne Design Award, Teun Zwets. Teun, come. You've become a big designer now. Just the other day I saw a big project you did with G-Star, which is, I think, one of the leading jeans companies in the Netherlands, and not only in the Netherlands, worldwide. I got a mic for you, Teun. So tell me, what happened since last year?
Yeah, what happened? Is the microphone on? Yeah?
Yeah, I think it's on, and if you keep it like
so,
this.
So what happened? Yeah, I just did my own thing.
Okay.
That's it.
So
that's what I think that was what my presentation was about, like just doing my own thing, and that's what I did.
And that's what you do the best, of course.
Yeah.
The prize, the amount of money.
€5,000.
Where did you spend it on, Teun? Did you spend it wisely?
I said I would go on holiday, but I didn't. So I basically just invested in my studio. To have such an amount of money, like it really helps to make freely without thinking about money. So when you have your own studio, you need to have a job a side job to pay your rent and stuff. So a prize money like this really helps to just work freely and just do your own thing and work autonomously.
Concentrate on your work only.
And also, like, especially to work autonomously, like instead of like doing jobs for clients, you can just do your own thing. And then hopefully people will buy it, and people buy it, so that's nice. Yeah.
Miracles do exist. Miracles do exist. And also the publication and the publicity you get afterwards, how important is that? And getting a stage for your work?
Give me a lot of publicity.
I'm a big fan of Teun. I'm still waiting for a piece.
Well, but I mean, it's not only the money, of course. It's also the publicity. Like I got quite some interviews and some people that contacted me. I think G-Star actually mentioned like Teun Zwet's award-winning designer. So it really helps, not only with money, also with like,
getting a stage, and especially in these times where a lot of design events didn't take place because of Corona and everything, and also this generation now. Thank you so much, Teun.
Dankjewel, Jeroen. Hey, Jeroen.
Dankjewel, Teun. That's funny. Teun says with the money he could finally be himself, but I've never seen him in another way. Okay, so we've all... Thank you, Teun. Thank you. That's how it is, Teun. Thank you. Teun Zwet. We've all seen the 9 design projects here before we entered this room, and they're very special. And I could not resist it, but I've started looking like, okay, what does it say about the times we are in? What is Corona reflected? What is not? What is the attitude of these young designers? And I took some notes. Of course, there's experiment. That's what Dutch design is all about. There's a big mention of craft. Also, you see some things of getting people together, intimacy. You see that also in these projects. There's mindfulness, revaluation of all the stuff that's already around us, that already exists. Can be in material, can be in attitude. It's about diversity. But I think most of all, it's about guts and about beauty. And these 9 designers are ready. Are you ready? Yeah? I feel some tension in the room, isn't it? I like that before we start. So, like I said, there are 9 designers. Each got 4 minutes, and I'm going to be brutal. You got 4 minutes, that's it. And after that, you might get 10 seconds, but that's about it. Because the time you take extra, you take from one of the other designers. So you got 4 minutes. I've got a clicker. And you can choose the images yourself. And I'm going to start first with Barbora Středová. Tribute to cleaning. Barbora, can I hit the stage? Yes, and a big round of applause.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Barbora. I come from the Czech Republic, and I did a project that is called Tribute to Cleaning. And thank you, Kazerne, for having us here tonight. Where should I aim for clicker?
At the machine. It's not working? Let me see. I'll help you out. It should work. Maybe it's not the right button.
We were supposed to have a brief on the clicker, but now I see that it's an important point that we missed.
Yeah. Zijkant. Go. We call it a bad design. I don't know who it is. Probably not Philips.
You have to clap twice.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Oh my God. Technology. Can somebody help us out? Maybe from the technical team?
The technical team is already done.
Okay. We got a spare one? Oh, it's really like the old days, huh? with beamers not working and everything. It's working? Okay, I'll start the time again. You still got 4 minutes. It's not working. No. Yeah, maybe we can do it by raising your arm, and you can do it in the back. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Is that okay with you, Barbara?
Let's try.
Let's try. That's the attitude.
It's going to be quite quick as a rhythm. Okay. So I discovered this strange paradox with cleaning that we seem to have. I guess everyone can kind of understand or empathize with the fact that cleaning takes a lot of time in our lives. Like, I would see how much time it takes to do the breakfast, then clean afterwards, after the lunch, vacuum, do the dishes. And I felt it was quite overwhelming, and yet in the society we never speak about cleaning and how it impacts our lives and how we are in the middle of it. I got also fascinated by the people of the cleaning industry. Like, I felt it was like a kind of dance in the street that they were performing, and especially also the colors. Like, I felt there was something really beautiful that they were taking the time in the streets while everyone else was rushing. And I actually decided that I would like to focus on collaborating and actually exploring the world of cleaning through the people that clean every day. Yes. This is the book that I created, so it's called Tribute to Cleaning, and I tried to change the vision that we have of cleaning today. So I gathered around 20 testimonials of different cleaning professionals, but not only, in a way of hoping to create a recognition and okay, it was too quick. It gathers so different stories. So, for example, a friend is explaining her troubles with having cleaning OCD. So that links to the problem that I felt at the beginning. If we look at the next slide, there is, for example, Mary Jane, which is a grandmother, but she has to clean public bathrooms as her job to be able to have her retirement. So there is a lot of variety in the story. But there are also positive stories in cleaning. It's not only difficult, it's not only a lot of effort, but it's also a lot of people who are really dedicated to doing what they do. If I can ask for the next slide, please. So Renee, for example, she sees cleaning as a way of giving time for families to be together. So she sees herself as a helper to actually people so they have less of a weight in their daily lives. And there were much more other stories. There was Bart the recycler from Eindhoven, who sees his way of recycling, helping the world on a small scale. There's Lillian, she's a stylist, and she loves cleaning so much that she opened her cleaning business. So the book is full of this kind of stories that you can really find a big variety. Can I ask for the next one, please? Cleaning is actually in the middle of our lives. So throughout the book, we speak about different topics. We speak about ecology, we speak about social relationships, we speak about recognition, we speak about values, we speak about life and death. So cleaning is right in the middle of all those topics, yet we somehow omit it. So you can find it back in the book. And we can go next, please. And to contextualize the world of cleaning, I also decided to ask outer perspective on cleaning. So I invited in the interviews a sociologist, a microbiologist, a historian, to really create a whole picture and a whole portrait of what cleaning is and why it matters in our lives today. Next, please. So I didn't want to stay only in a book. I feel it is important also to attract people by creating objects and objects that people want to have. So this was the first object that I created, a bucket that we wouldn't try to hide anymore, that we would like to have right in the middle of our living spaces, and that we would not be ashamed to actually have when people come over. So this was the first piece. And then it evolved. We can go to the last slide, please. So this is the overall picture of my installation. So it's an installation that is based around the stories of the people that are in the book. And I created the objects really to make this change of perception. So to create this strong and joyful feeling about cleaning and not omitting that it's a difficult task, but something that is really important in our lives and makes part of our daily life. So I hope it claims a proud space in our society and that we can make it part of our daily life in a proud way.
Thank you. Thank you, Barbora. No, keep it. I've got 2 questions. Every designer gets 2 small questions.
Okay.
There are also some objects, ceramics, of the cleaning. I'd say almost like the objects that are celebrating the cleaning. What was that first? Your idea? How did it start? It started with the book, or did it start with the objects?
For me, it really started with the book because I have the main interest in, the people were interesting to me that I wanted to discover how they really feel in the daily life, and I felt there is a kind of social taboo behind cleaning, and I felt that's something that is probably also projected into the profession. So I wanted to go first to the people and ask actually how they feel about it. So the book is really the main kind of area of my work, and then it expanded into a world that is visual, that everyone can kind of, get attracted to. It's very colorful. I use the same color codes that I found in my research as that are important. So it revolves around the book, and then the objects make it kind of alive for me.
Yeah, that's exactly the colors of the cleaning products. They have these quirky colors. And the last question is, did you become more clean on your own environment as well? Is your house more clean now?
I would
Be honest, huh?
I would like to say yes, but it's difficult. No, but I think it made me understand realities that I wasn't aware of, like how rare it is to actually have like water, that soap had to be invented. And I think the biggest thing that was surprising for me is how recent of an invention cleaning actually is, that 100 years ago we would be in a completely different society where the mortality rate was much we would probably not be here at this age because of the living standards that we have today. So hygiene is super important, but for us it's something that is so acquired in the society that we don't realize that someone had to invent soap, someone had to invent pipes to go, to have the water in the 5th floor. So those little inventions, I look at them like, wow, okay, there's someone standing behind it. And yeah, that's what I discovered through my
Thank you,
research.
and what you shared with us with the book and the project. Thank you, Barbora. And I think you did, yes, thank you. And I think you did very well. You had to experiment a little bit, improvise with the clicker not working. You did very well. Beautiful. That's, I think, one of the great strengths of designers. We see somebody cleaning the streets, and the designer sees a whole world behind it and sharing that with us. Very beautiful project. And I think we are started now. The second one up is Moonseop Seo, Passage to the Lake. I have no clicker, so
no clicker yet.
Raise your hand.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm very honored to be presenting here today. I would like to introduce my project, Passage to the Lake. The project consists of a poem and an installation. And I would like to start my presentation with a poem that I wrote. It's quite small. I will read it out. Listen carefully. Passage to the Lake. Standing in front of a lake makes me calm. I could stare at it for hours. I wanted to take the lake home with me. I took a glass of lake water and brought it home. With excitement, I placed a cup on my table. But it was not moving anymore. It was dead. I go back to the lake and sit closer. Instead, I create a small passage, a passage that I can always visit. Whenever I am overwhelmed, I walk through the passage. Walking through the passage of the lake makes me calm. Next slide. And maybe once more. This project is about bringing the lake home. I'm sure everyone experienced staring at the living water of a river, sea, or lake for hours. And you come back home. You take a shower without realizing it was the same magical water that you were staring at. Surprisingly, the moment water enters the city, it loses its power. I was born and raised in Seoul, Korea, until I came to the Netherlands. The cityscape of Seoul is quite dense and modern. There is nothing that was untouched by human. Even mountains and rivers are designed and groomed for our taste. We shape them however we want, and we take control over them. And with it, their magic disappears. Despite me being a city boy, I was always drawn to the visual effects nature presents to us, such as a reflection on the puddle of a street, or the way sunlight breaks through the tree leaves. Through my installation, I want these elements to intervene, grow around us, and even become part of our daily life. Our days in the city seems like an endless repeating routine that is difficult to cut off. I see people rushing somewhere around the center of Eindhoven to get to the next destination. Sometimes it is considered luxury to go to a remote place and enjoy the sun and trees. I want the installation to act as a portal to our memories. This will offer meditative moments throughout the days, contributing to our well-being. After COVID, maybe we need this more than ever. Next, please. We spend most of our time in buildings, and I want to invite fragments of nature to be more present indoors. With their full potential activated to mesmerize us in the middle of the city, everyone has different experience and association of their own. Therefore, what they will visualize will be always special. And that's why I brought the lake home, not in a literal sense, but more in a poetic way.
Thank you. Seon, during COVID, you mentioned COVID, it's very important to relax and go to nature. Was there a specific lake here in the area of Eindhoven you prefer to go to?
Actually, I was during Christmas, I was in Germany, Bonn, and I think it was Maria Lach. I don't know, my girlfriend took me there, and I was just there looking at it, and I was really stressed with the graduation show. I didn't have this framing yet, so I didn't expect that I'm going to work on the lake, but I think that was the moment that I wanted to bring it home.
Yeah. And why specifically a lake? For some people, the sea or a forest, or what is the magic specifically about a lake that you wanted to take it home?
Because I wanted to talk about water, because like I mentioned, we think of the water in nature, water as like admiring. We have a lot of admiration, but on the other hand, the water we drink from the tap and the water we take shower with, it's the same water, but we just forget about it. So I wanted to bring this casual material that's around us, but there's a lot of potential of it, but I wanted to bring it out and make it alive again.
We are water, of course, for like 60-70%, half the world even more. There's also a mindfulness aspect to it. I remember seeing your project during the graduation show that made me very tranquil. Is that also one of the aspects of cooling down, so to say?
Yeah, I think so. I think so too, because it's mainly I designed for the jumping part, but after the graduation or during the graduation show, when I talk to people and I also observed my installation again, it's also about waiting for the drop to drop. And some people really enjoy this tension, because I was trying to work with the speed, like if I should make it faster or slower, and people want it to be slower because they're just waiting there like, come on, come on. So yeah, in that sense, yes.
It's about mindfulness.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Seon. Can a big hand. Designing a water drop. That's something that I've never heard before. Crazy. Next up, Ruben Warnshuis, and his project is called Industrial Devolution, the Workshop. And I think we have a clicker. Can I have a big round of applause for it too? First for the technical part, and also for the first two speakers who didn't have the clicker. I think you did very, very well. Here's the mic.
Thank you.
And there are the 4 minutes.
Perfect. Hi everyone, I'm Ruben. I'm very happy to be here, and this is Industrial Devolution. Recent crises have shown us how little control we have over the way our objects are made. And through outsourcing and automation, I think we create a growing distance from ourselves with the manufacturing. And although I think there's a wish to do well, sometimes it's impossible through the complex and non-transparent systems we operate in. I think there's an urgency to become self-sufficient, and it might be time to take matters in our own hands. In other words, to seize the means of production. The goal of industrial devolution is to close the growing gap between consumers and their objects through a small low-tech factory that produces footwear. Okay, let's see if it works. Perfect. So these are the shoes. I think it helps to actually show the objects first, and after that explain how they're made. The shoes exist out of 4 parts. So you have the white weft. Those are going through the sole. The sole is the orange, the inner sole is the orange rope. And the warp is the teal rope that creates the upper shoe. Sometimes for durability, I add this external outer sole from a tougher material. It's woven on top of it. Flexes like a spine. Yeah, it's a bit complicated with everything at the same time. It's okay. Okay, so the way it is produced, industrial devolution is rather a research in alternate ways to produce our footwear, rather than a predetermined end result. In essence, it's a small factory existing out of 4 stations to produce footwear. There are 3 important values regarding the workshop. These are accessibility, adaptability, and economic inclusion. Adaptability or customization allows for people working in the workshop to modify the tools and also to modify the model of the shoe itself. So there's no predetermined end result. Accessibility means that it's possible for someone else to build the workshop and learn how to make a shoe within a day. And economic inclusion means that you're able to make the workshop with as little investment as possible. By taking these parameters in consideration, industrial devolution facilitates a low-tech production process that requires basic tools to build and needs no electricity to operate. The production happens in 5 steps, built over the 4 different stations. The first station is on the complete right. It's used to measure the material and also to prepare the loom, and in the final stage to take the shoe off the loom. The second station, which is where I'm sitting right there, is used to weave the inner sole. So in this case, it's the orange rope. It's woven on top of a series or a loom made from tubes, and with 2 combs, it's pressed together to make the profile of the shoe. The third station is to weave the sole. Put through the yarns through the inner sole, so the upper. Yarns are pulled through the tubes are removed, and after that the mold is attached to it. And finally, you see it in the bottom part, it is the weaving station. Through bending metal pins into shape, I can create needles, and I can weave everything together, so then the whole process is completed. Now, last part. Oh, fuck. So during this process, I realized that there's not a singular answer on how a shoe is constructed. Depending on the material, the needs and the size of the material used, the quality of the shoes change with it. Because there's a direct link between the material and the qualities of the shoe, it causes a dialogue between producer and consumer. The parametrical choices a producer normally makes are now asked directly to the wearer of the shoe. For example, is it more important to have a sustainable choice or a durable one? Would it be organic fibers or ones that are recycled? Removing these putting these questions of parameters at the consumer, the final shoe becomes an expression of the values of the wearer. And that's it.
Thank you, Ruben. Thank you. You should bring an assistant next presentation you do.
Sorry?
You should bring an assistant the next presentation you do. So not somebody to hold your paper and to show the shoe. No. Please stay. I've got.
I am saying.
Okay,
Sure.
good, but not too long. Is there a specific shoe you got inspired by?
No, it's mostly in a way it's form follows function, and the technique was leading for the model itself.
Okay, well, I mean, Nike, eat your heart out. This is the newest model of the Nike Air, right?
Yeah,
Looks really, really cool. On a more serious level, what was your biggest challenge during this project?
I think actually making them ergonomically stable, where it's quite easy to sort of weave a 3D shape. It's quite difficult to make one that fits your foot in a way that's actually comfortable rather than just pretty.
Yeah, okay. But the project, the way you describe it now, it seems to me that the shoe is the project. But actually, I got the idea during your presentation, it's not so much the shoe, but the whole production process, what the project is about.
Yeah, so I think what the project is about, it's a process to make shoes, and depending on who makes them, but also what are the variables, the outcome of the shoe or the identity of the shoe changes with it.
Ah, okay. So if I take a different material, the function and the way you wear it.
But also the qualities, everything about the whole shoe
So if you
changes.
use an elastic rope,
Yeah.
it will probably be more like a sneaker, and if you do a different kind of rope, it will become like a dancing shoe or something like that. Okay, interesting. They really look cool. Really. Thank you, Ruben.
Thanks.
Thank you. Yes. I need an assistant as well. Yeah. Next up, Eva Jagerman, naar eigen hand. Yes. And if you take the mic first, yeah.
Thank you.
And I got the clicker. All right, enjoy.
Okay, hope it goes well now. Hi all, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the project Naar eigen hand. Naar eigen hand could be translated in at your own hand, by which I mean to say working with your hands and creating in the way that you want or you desire. In short, this project is about craft work and collaboration. We turned an automatic knitting machine into a human-driven device. I focused on the knitting machine because often I use textiles as a medium to translate my ideas or to research what I want to learn. The technique I didn't know about yet and which I wanted to learn and discover is that of the knitting machine. Creating with my hand is of course what I like to do. So I observed the knitting machine, the automatic knitting machine, and I wanted to learn and master this technique. But I could not figure out how this machine works because all the little details are so small. So together we learned to understand all the details of how this knitting machine works, and we developed an enlarged wooden version. With this enlarged wooden version, you become part of the making process, and while becoming part of the making process, you are learning the technique. The different main elements of the machine are the handles that create the stitches by pushing the handles back and forth. The weight that keeps the knitwear down and keeps it straight. And 15 bobbins are on top of the machine. You can wind on these bobbins all different kinds of yarn in various colors and materials. The material that we use to create knitwear is leftover or reused yarn that is collected by our friends and family. These leftover yarns are knot together and pulled together to become one bigger thread. Working together is necessary to let this machine work. One or two persons operate the handles and someone else guides the combined thread over the handles. The outcome that you make together with this machine is enlarged knitwear. You can make it with various patterns, various colors, various sizes. Patterns can be created by adjusting the stitches manually, so you adjust single stitches by hand. The blankets you can use at home, for example, on the bed, on the couch, or on the wall, as it has decorative and functional features. For myself, the value of this project is the combination of collaboration, working together, putting your effort in it to make something. So being part of the making process, and by being part of making what you make, learning the technique as the technique becomes visible by its large size. And of course using leftover materials to create something new. Thank you.
Thank you, Eva. You have some time left.
Yeah, it was quite quick, I see.
Yeah. Well, I was wondering, did you collaborate with anybody while designing this project?
Well, I made it together with my boyfriend, but no, I worked a lot with textiles. It's my main material I work with. No, so it's a follow-up on previous projects I did about weaving. I did about trying to make a new textile or using it to translate a story or an idea. And this was the technique I didn't know and I wanted to learn. So.
Yeah. No, because your project is all about the joy of collaboration and, you know, together we stand strong. So I was wondering, you know, in a project like this, especially during a Corona period where everybody was on their own little 1.5 square meter island,
Yeah.
Whether you worked with anybody or not. Do you think your project is influenced by the social circumstances of the lockdowns and the...
No, I think it's not influenced. I think it only made it more difficult. I also tried to do workshops with it at a daycare center, but it was quite difficult because how do you remain this 1.5 meter distance? But I think it's the idea is coming from my own feeling of interest, like working with my hands and working together and creating something.
And I was also wondering, of course, you've designed the whole knitting machine and the whole and the workshop and everything. Did you design specific products that can be knitted with this machine as well, like instructions or patterns or anything?
Well, I researched different knitting patterns. It's I don't know how you say it in English, but in Dutch it's rechts averecht. So you can make it rechts averecht.
Anybody? I dare you. You get a drink by me if you know the translation.
Yeah.
Thank you, Teun.
And the blankets itself, yeah, you can use it in home because I like cozy interior stuff. But you can also use it, of course, I made one for a showroom once, so it was a 5 meter tall, long version. So that was also a different way of seeing it, more as an eye catcher than functional or decorative. Yeah, it was more a decorative object than.
Yeah, exactly. But usually they're like carpets of on the floor or wall hangings.
Yeah, I think you will trap if you put it on the floor, and you can hang it on the wall as a decorative thing for sure. But I think on the couch it's also decorative and functional as well. So.
Okay. And now you do mostly workshops with it, or do you have it standing somewhere and people have taken it over, so to say?
Yeah, I try to do workshops with it, but it's also indeed first with Corona quite difficult. So now I had it in a room of the mother of my boyfriend. Yeah, we knit together, but it would be nice to after this whole lockdown and now to do workshops with it. There's two things: you can do workshops, but you can also sell the blankets. It's an outcome. The machine is an outcome, but the blankets as well. So you can participate in a workshop, or you can just buy and enjoy.
Okay, we're all invited.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Eva Jagerman. Yep. Next up, Leo Maher. Glimpses into familiar passions. Leo, where are you? Here you are. I got a mic.
Sorry, I didn't know I was next up. I'm just trying to get up here.
That's why I'm here for.
Thanks.
You got a clicker? All right.
Human's friend as well. It's really
Yeah,
going
I
to ruin
smell
me.
it. Yeah, all right. Enjoy.
Sorry, thanks. Hi, I'm Leo. And I graduated last year from the Design Academy with this project called Glimpses into Unfamiliar Passions. And I don't need this clicker because I only have one picture, fortunately for me. And I have a piece of paper to talk through. I'm unfortunately not as well versed or apt in improvisation as some of the other people that have stood here already. So the project is a series of 5 pieces of furnitures or sculptures, and they attempt to narrate a particular history of homosexuality throughout Western civilization. Unfortunately, the original 5 pieces, which are behind me, are on exhibit somewhere else at the minute, so there's a second edition of the small backgammon table outside in the other space, this time a little different with some white and black glazed tiles. And so each piece of the series explores the heritage of numerable identifiers, of legends, of deviant behaviors and signaling mechanisms of a particular people, where each physical element of the pieces represent one particular narrative element and more globally work together to construct a wider narrative. The project as a whole acknowledges our existence in a material culture where depictions of life events and significant characters are immortalized through representation and icon, where figurative and portrait busts preserve legacies of those once considered socially significant, where trends and movements in sculpture literate a consensus of emotion from the surrounding society, and where as far back as 30,000 years ago we can discover these human handprints made on walls, and it's these handprints that tell us that I was here. And the project heeds the importance that we not only preserve these once conventional narratives, but also those not previously considered customary or reputable. And it aims to give a medium or a voice to this boundless history of queer legend. The piece in particular, to unbuild it a little bit, investigates a number of different euphemisms used in the 16th century in England to describe homosexual men and their activities. Backgammon player, faggot, loathsome Ganymede, and chicken all take symbolic representation in the piece. And to unbuild one particular narrative element of the piece, these metal faggot sticks on the front legs. Ooh, I'm about to fall off the back of the stage. The metal faggot sticks on the front of the backgammon table are a reference to a popular derogatory slang terminology used to describe a homosexual, and that word is faggot. It was a word once used to describe a bundle of sticks on which an accused sodomite would be burnt to death. Other legends describe its origin to young, weak, effeminate boys of public boys' schools in England of whom would be referred to as faggots. They would be sent into the grounds whilst the more masculine boys played sports to collect faggot sticks, which would otherwise be known as kindling. And it was there that they would be sexually abused by the schoolmasters and elder pupils, which would be a practice described as fagging. In surmise, the work is an attempt to seek the heritage of these innumerable terminologies and phrases that have transcended time into our contemporary tongue, and to investigate how their adapting usage throughout history can help us better understand the alternating paradigms of oppression and prejudice. And in surmise again, lastly, the prerogative is to collect histories and narratives and legends, noting that even the fictitious bears value and sentiment and the scope to explain masses about the paradigm of a particular people or time. Thanks.
Wow, Leo. Thank you. I definitely say there's a literary quality to your work. It's almost like a visual essay of the history of faggots and,
Okay.
for example, and other names which are not up to me to name them. But are you influenced by literature as a designer?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think everybody here, in terms of how they witness works and how they think about anything, comes with a particular cultural conditioning. And of course, one of these cultural assets is conditioned by literature. To speak more specifically about the work, some of the literature involved, the second piece, the lamp, references some of the violets and the pastures referenced by the Greek poet Sappho's. And this kind of, you can't really see it so clearly, but on the top right, this copper plasma cut, copper aluminium sheet forged to look like a carnation is in reference to some of the playwrights of Oscar Wilde and of that period.
Yeah, but even in another way as well, it's full of metaphors. I mean, in a very literal way, it's influenced by literature. I mean, they're the visual alliterations, they're metaphors, in that literal way, as you know, an artist makes a novel. Did it influence you in the making process as well? You were literally influenced by literature.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the project began as a massive, more theoretical research archive, and then from that point, I was looking for more, I guess, archetypes essentially that allow to communicate a particular story or idea or narrative or element. So I guess in search of that, I'm looking for forms that represent particular literal histories.
Yeah, and even the Greek mythology, I mean, it's the basis of literature. Also, there's a duality in this work. It's very cheerful, very proud, very loud as well. But at the same time, there's a sadness to it. Is that on purpose?
I think, actually, perhaps in contrast to what you say, I tried to stay clear of more traditional queer aesthetics of proudness and loudness.
I didn't say it was
No,
typically
for sure, and
queer.
I don't wish to tackle you on it.
No.
But I tried to
That's,
stay...
that's your perception, Leo.
Absolutely, my cultural conditioning. To stay clear of sequins and glitter and things that might traditionally be more recognized from a queer aesthetic, and try to belong it more to the aesthetic and the materiality that belongs to more traditional iconography, of which this narrative and this history has been discarded from as a result of prejudice and oppression throughout time.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Leo.
Thanks.
Yeah. We're only halfway through, and we've seen such new worlds being discovered in cleaning, in water, in the relationship between design and literature, the way we work and the way we should work, and the joy of collaboration. That's already a small roundup, so we know what we've seen. So we're up for the next 5, yes? Okay. Next up, Adaptism, and we got 2 on stage. So I'm going to, for a brief moment, hand out my microphone. A bit reluctant, but anyway, I got to do it.
Thank you.
There's the clicker, and here's the mic.
Yeah. Okay. Hi everyone, it's a pleasure to be here. Yeah, it's a pleasure. I'm Paul Yuen. I graduated from the department private, and I work mainly on object and space.
And I'm Elliot Valin. I'm an artist designer, and I graduated from Men and Identity, and I work mainly around textile.
And we are working together since 2 years and a half. And we build our friendship around philosophy that we call Adaptism. That is for us a way to make transition between body, objects, and space.
And our first project was a collaboration with the Textile Museum in Tilburg, and we learned to combine our expertises, our creative DNA. So for us, it was important to continue in this open process, and it was logical to graduate together, like continue this collaboration. Each project that I do with Paul start from the material. So we dive into its heritage, we dive in the technical way to produce it, the expertise to understand the flows and the qualities of the matter.
And for this project, we focused on the flax linen. That used to be a really important fiber for centuries, but we kind of forgot about it, mainly because it doesn't follow all the industrial standards of the textile industry. And nowadays, it represents only 1% of the textile industry.
And we see flax linen as a European treasure. And from our researches, we understand that there is 3 main flows of the material. The first flow is the fact that linen marks the fold. So you all had this experience of wearing linen clothing, and during the day it's gonna wrinkle, it's gonna shrink. And we decided to embrace this flow, like the fact that it marks the fold, in an overshirt jacket. So this jacket is made only with squares as a pattern. We played around with them, fold them, stitch it, start again to create a jacket with 0 leftover, and by limiting the stitches.
The second flow of the material is the fact that linen is a vibrant material. So when you pass next to it, when you open the window, it's going to kind of create a movement. And we wanted to embrace this kind of moment of life inside the space. So we work on this chair tapestry, and this object is going to connect to the architecture. So it can go 4 meters high or 45 centimeters, depending on how you fold the linen piece. So it's really going to adapt to the space where you are. And then the third flow of the material is the fact that linen change color with natural and artificial light. It's unstable color-wise. So we wanted to embrace it and work on this light diffuser. So the idea is that you have the light in the same sense than the weaving. So the color is going to change through time, and we wanted to anticipate it and to create kind of a pattern of time with this piece.
And we had the chance to work with Le Jacquard Français, which is one of the best European weavers. It's in the east of France, next to a lake, next to the mountain. And with Paul, we really like to really have this discussion with the experts of the industry, really go, have a discussion, talk, understand the matter, and have a dialogue. So the piece that you can see at the entrance of Kazerne, the textile that is 6 meters high, is the canvas of the collection. Each centimeter of it is used in the process, nothing goes to the bin. And for us, it was a way to really respect the material.
To really value the fiber. And now we are trying to get in connection with haute couture brands, with furniture brands, with
automotive.
Furniture. So the idea is to really make the transition to go back to this fiber that has a lot of flows that we can turn into qualities. So thanks.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. No, stay on together. Yeah. I have a question for each of you. You both did a different men and men department.
Yeah.
Which one did you did?
Identity.
Identity. You did
And public-private.
Public-private. Did it interfere in the project? Did you see that because, of course, you're different persons and everything? Did you take each a different perspective from your education to the project?
Yeah, it was a challenge to understand like both DNA and combine them and like answers all the criteria. But it was an open dialogue all the time and like questioning, removing layers to make the project clear enough for everyone to understand it, I think.
And I think what we like is to make transition between body, object, and space. So it was just logical. Yeah.
Okay, and now you want to take it to the industry. That would be the biggest goal, right?
I mean, it's only 1% of the textile industry, but it's a European fiber that has only water to grow and it's super resistant. So why this 1%?
Yeah, okay, I understand. But did you talk to any companies yet? What was the feedback?
Yeah. We have a connection that we're developing now, it takes a lot of time because it's the scale of the industry, so you don't make things like that. But yeah.
You have to convince them about the material as well?
It's more about showing that they can turn the flows into qualities and use it for specific needs.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Can I have the mic back? And the clicker? Yeah. We're running a little bit late. I'm so sorry, but these stories are so interesting. Yeah, I gotta know a little bit more of all these projects, right? A little bit of context. I'll hurry up in between. Bruno Baietto, follow the crumbs that fall from your... Bruno, there you are. I knew you were here.
This is the closest thing that I get from a TED talk, so try to get it. Hello, my name is Bruno Baietto and come from Uruguay, that's South America. And my project is called Follow the Crumbs That Fall From Your Own. The project started as a research about ideology as a social phenomenon and how design serves as a tool that defines our perception and dictates our behavior to sustain social structures. That sounds fancy and complicated, but I'm going to try to make it simple. What you see over here is my installation, and it takes the shape of a still life. I think what we know about still lifes is that it has some questions embedded on the style that, for example, something can be real or an illusion at the same time. What gives things value beyond their immediate use? And especially, who defines that value? In that sense, actually, this relates way more with my own experience with the topic. I come from a family of bakers, very much politically engaged by the time, when bread was a result of a common effort and a symbol of human labor and social action. And so, basically, my project is mostly about how we can actually value human effort behind the things that we have and we interact with. And how can we confront the inequality behind the production systems that we have? Something that design seems quite persisting to ignore, right? That's why I created an installation that allegorized those lacks, alongside a character that watches the pageantry of the design field, such as
Thank you. Thank you. That was a great hostile takeover, Bruno. The text, you wrote that?
Yeah.
Or was it actually one of your teachers speaking to you at the Design Academy?
No. That's, well, maybe there is a voiceover in the back of my mind.
It's your conscience.
Yeah, yeah, like a voice in the back of my mind that maybe was my tutors, but I don't think so. Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is a question that sort of speaks on your conscience.
Mm-hmm.
Are you positive on design? What do you think of design? Is it a positive discipline or not?
It could be when it just don't works for sustain itself. The design is a tool, is a way to a lot of possibilities. You can just simply materialize a thought. But lately we are reclaiming on materializing for the design field itself. And that's something that I definitely want to challenge in that sense. There is a point that, what's the goal? We just keep on repeating the same problems all the time. We just take part of social issues for ourselves and we just show it again. And we don't take action over it because we just simply present it, right? So that's my project mostly, what it's about.
Yeah, it's almost like a visualized manifesto.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. The text, can we find it somewhere? If I would like to read it, is it on the internet somewhere?
Yeah.
Or maybe a movie of the spoken,
yeah,
the speaking trash bin?
Yeah, next to the installation there is a movie that you can hear it.
Okay. And it's on your website?
Yeah. Also.
Okay. I see a movie with him. You know, it could be a Hollywood star. Thank you, Bruno. Thank you. Yes, thank you, Bruno. Next up, Faye Ramakers, The Unselfish Cabins. There you are, Faye. And I got a clicker. And I got a mic. Here you go. And I got 4 minutes.
Hello, everyone. I'm also really happy to be here and to talk about my project, The Unselfish Cabins. And this project started from a fascination for natural ecosystems. I started looking at them and saw how complex they are and how they create systems that are circular and balance themselves always out. I believe our cities can learn a lot from this. And with that as a starting point in mind, I started seeing our cities as ecosystems as well and tried to see how they could be more like natural ecosystems. An important principle of natural ecosystems is that each element should fulfill multiple functions and that the most important functions should be fulfilled by many elements. So if we would look at our houses and our built environment in this way, shouldn't our buildings have multiple functions as well? Shouldn't they not be more than just a place to live? So with this idea in mind, I created the Unselfish Cabins. These cabins are small buildings that densify the city and at the same time add a network of functions to these cities. So they create a place to live in existing neighborhoods, places that are already inhabited, they create more space to live. And at the same time, they address urban challenges, for example, in the field of waste, biodiversity, water, and they address them, but also offer solutions to solve them. So I talked to different experts in these fields, and based on these interviews, I developed a series of these cabins, but this could be an ever-expanding family of cabins. I will explain some to make it more clear. This is the water capturing cabin. It's a cabin that collects rainwater with heavy rainfall and then filters it and releases it at dry periods. So it aims to mitigate extreme climate conditions. This is the public waste cabin. It offers a public toilet and an organic waste container. And with that, it turns waste into valuable resources like biocompost or compost or biogas. This is the monument cabin. It's a beautiful object that stands proudly in a public space and attracts people to gather, to take shelter, to meet. And when the inhabitant of the cabin is home, it shines a light, so it becomes a safe space to be. The Animal Crossing cabin, it's connecting different green parts of the city by bridging paths that separate these green spots. And in this way, it enlarges the habitats of of city wildlife. And then the bus stop cabin. This cabin replaces a regular bus stop, which can be quite not so pleasant to be at night. And this cabin makes sure that at night when the inhabitants home, there's a light shining, and people who are waiting at the bus, they have the feeling of someone being there, and it makes them feel more safe. So these cabins are strongly connected to their environment, but also with each other. They could exchange materials, resources, and they kind of mimic a natural ecosystem, but then in an urban way. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Faye. I was wondering, these are very beautiful scale models you've made, and it's very well thought through and the function and everything. I was wondering, do the cabins differ? You mentioned it, but differ a lot in materials, and what sort of materials should be used for these cabins?
Well, the aim of the cabin is that they, with materialization and shape, really show what their function is. So when people walk by and see the cabin, they also understand, okay, this is the problem that's addressed here and has to be solved in this area. So if the material can contribute to communicating that function, it will be that material.
And they have to be locally sourced as well, like in that city?
Yeah, well, I'm at the moment trying to realize one of those cabins, like a full scale model.
Oh wow!
And the plan is to do it like partly bio-based and partly from reused materials. So, yeah, I also like the idea that because it's based on the natural ecosystems, that the materials come from the city, so the ecosystem itself, and can maybe be given back to it someday.
Where is it going to be realized?
Well, I hope to show it at the next Dutch Design Week, but it's still in process, so we'll see.
We got something to look forward to. Thank you, Faye. And the last one already, Hsin Min Chan, to be looked at Ness. And well, we've seen your project. We don't want to look over that. Here you go. That's the mic. And this is the clicker. Here you go. 4 minutes.
The 8th of April 2020. We sent her to a medical prison for a reason we cannot talk about in public. We proclaimed her segregation because we are the dominant power. She is not a person anymore. We will refer to her as it. It is a potential threat, a dangerous body. As the great policy mentioned, a dangerous body has to be under control. We transcend humanity, we are omnipresent, and we are an omniscient power. We sacrifice it to secure large collective benefits. We isolate it, observe it, cage it until we make sure it's clean. We watched it through the surveillance camera that shoots straight forward to its bed. The bed is the only piece of furniture in the cell, so it must stay on the bed all the time. We trained it to be a docile body, especially in this panopticon. It should know that it had to behave. We contact it through the intercom. It was tamed, like still life, and stayed on the bed all the time. This enclosed cell was comprehensively observed. Its condition was supervised, all behavior was filmed, its diet was under control, and its biological clock was tuned. Suddenly, it started to act weird. It threw all the stuff from the bed to the ground and tore its documents into pieces. We listened to its ward through the intercom. It was screaming and crying loudly. It was insane and became an even more dangerous body than we could handle. We had to treat her as a human instead of an object. She got released as planned. Her hysterical performance was meant to be seen, and our gaze was manipulated. She turned her cell into a stage.
Both my body and emotions were the instruments that I exploited to give the impression of being a dangerous body as a counterattack. I dehumanize myself, and as a result, empower myself at the same time. Reflecting my time in the hospital and my experience of losing individuality and a sense of humanity, I started to reflect on how this experience compared to my normal life. I have been self-aware and highly conscious of how I look. I never leave the house without makeup. I have always tested myself with the imagined male gaze, and I'm not the only one to experience this. Like what I experienced in the hospital, I experienced how I became overly conscious of potentially being watched by the surveillance camera. So why not use my own experience in the hospital where I was able to transform my powerless situation into one of power as a strategy for challenging the male gaze in normal life? How about reversing the power dynamics by exploiting being viewed as an object? I built a sculptural dress, a merging of skein decorative motifs, fabrics, and furniture pieces that will act as disciplinary devices once I will start to wear them. The skirt lifted my body high above all other people. As I had done in the hospital, I transformed my objectified body into a weapon. It served both as a stage for displaying the to-be-looked-atness of the woman who wears it, and it served as an armor, which transforms me into an unapproachable, autonomous creature, no longer owned and disciplined by the male gaze. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Hsin. There is something very sculptural about the dress, but at the same time, as we can see there on the top left, there's also sort of a performance in the use of the dress. What was your intention? To make it more like a performance, very outgoing and look at me kind of way? Or is it more like a sculptural, autonomous standing piece?
Actually, this project is supposed to be a performance, exactly. And the intention is like the concept is it's a project that I force people have to look at it. They cannot avoid looking at it, and they have to look at me from downstairs. Yeah.
The thing with dresses is also it's a way of expressing your identity, your individuality, maybe even your mood. Are you planning to make different sort of models of this dress?
Instead of dresses, I would like to try some object else. I think there's still some iconic objects that can stand for the identity. So I would like to try not the dress again.
No, okay, with a different clothing piece.
Yeah.
Again, something to look forward to. Thank you so much. Thank you. You can give me the mic. You can leave it there. Just leave it. Yeah, we're finished. We're finished with all the presentations. These were all the 9 presentations. And again, I'm not jealous of the 3 female judges. And also, we ran a little bit late. I took 15 minutes extra of your time. So you only get 15 minutes to make your choice. We give you a little bit of slack, maybe 5 minutes. But please, yes, jury, run out. The rest of you, I hope to see you back here in, say, 20 minutes, Moon? Is that doable? 20 minutes max, preferably 15. You can have a view of the 9 exhibitors up front, and I'll see you in 9 minutes. Okay, is everybody here? Are all the young designers here? All 9? The jury has reached a verdict. Before I invite the 3 members of the jury on stage, I'm gonna run you quickly through all the 9 nominees for the prize. First was Barbora Středová. Seems like such a long time ago. The project Tribute to Cleaning, and the beauty of it, during COVID, I only saw people cleaning, but designers like Barbora, they see a whole world, they see rituals, and they see the beauty of cleaning and the urgency of cleaning, and you have to be a designer for that. Moonseop Seo Moon, I've never seen a designer before designing a water drop, and also the idea of, if you can't go to the lake because of COVID, you take the lake inside. I find it a very, very sparkling way of thinking. Ruben Warnshuis, who put us literally with both feet on the ground again. We need to be making our stuff our own, not importing plastic and Nikes from somewhere we don't even know where from, but we start making our own shoes. Then was Eva Jagerman, naar eigen hand, the joy of collaboration. And isn't that what we missed for the last 2 years? So it's also a very important project. Maher, taking literature to the design field and celebrating queerness, but also at the same time arousing awareness of queerness. And Adaptism, the beauty is all around us in everyday materials. Elliot Valin and Paul Ewan. Bruno Baietto, the value of design, and also making a statement in the way of talking bin. I think that idea alone is worth 5 prizes in itself. Ramakers, a whole new typology of architecture, which, I say it very quickly now, but it's actually a very big achievement to sort of improve architecture, which is, something different than design. And finally, Hsin Min Chan, taking fashion, we all know the saying, a fashion statement. I think she took that to a whole new level. And then there was the jury who had to decide of these 9. So I invite you all 3, Kiki van Eijk, Anne Lichtenberg and Annemoon Geurts. And can I also have one more round of applause for the jury? Yes. So the first question is, of course, was it an unanimous?
Yes.
Oh, that took too long. Here's a mic.
Oh, it was a long discussion. Yeah, it was so close call.
Okay.
Yeah, we really would want to grant you all, but I'm sorry, that's not possible.
No, that's the whole idea of a prize. There has to be one.
Yeah, it was very close call, and really all of you, thank you so much. It was great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anna, if you look back at the jury session, was there one thing in particular that you focused on without now, giving a little preview of who the winner is, but in general, was there something specific you looked on?
Well, I think we really looked also at the different aspects that came back in all the projects. I think what was really nice was that none of the projects only was about one thing, but there were such complete stories touching so many elements. I think that's something we really appreciated of this year's presentations.
Okay. And would there be like one connecting theme through all the 9 projects? Something that you saw that, wow, that's something that really connects this mentality of this new generation of designers?
I think they all had it was all dreamy, it was all accessible, but it was all really real life. And I think that combination, that balance, that's really great.
Kiki, it was also a very international field of designers. There were people from South America, Asia. Did that play a role in how you look at design as a jury?
No, because 90% of the Design Academy students is non-Dutch, so that's a logical outcome. No, we really looked at the work. We don't look at where somebody comes from. The work has to speak. And like Annemoon said, it was really difficult because we thought the level in general was really high this year, really high. And because the works were so diverse from one to the other, in fact, you cannot compare them. So, yeah, that's why it was difficult and why we took a bit more time.
Yeah. Okay. So how are we going to do this?
Yeah, we're going to say something about each project, one by one.
Cool.
And then you are going to announce the winner afterwards.
Is that so? Well.
Okay, I start with Barbora. You had a really good presentation. I thought it was really good that you didn't have a paper, that you were speaking just very naturally and very clear. What is beautiful about your project, I think, is that it gives us a new perspective on something that is very well known amongst everyone. And therefore, it's a very social project at the same time. And yeah, it is a very human project, and it brings us all back to the basics in life. And you executed that in a very beautiful and poetical way. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes. Well, then I will be very quick. I think, Moon, it was your piece makes us very quiet, and I think the presentation had the same quietness, and I think that was very lovely.
Ruben, where are you? Yes. Hi. I think your work is very relevant. Please take some presentation classes. It's not necessary. Your work speaks for itself. It's very nice. It ticks a lot of boxes in relevancy. So, well done.
Eva, your project is very warm and welcoming, we think, and therefore it's also a very social project. It's very well executed into the details. And it's interesting also how you scaled up things. So I think it could also be interesting to involve kids in this project. I don't know if you thought about it, but thank you very much.
Leo, within the whole conversation about diversity, I think it's really great that you find a language that's actually also accessible for people out from a different perspective. So by giving us an entry to this universe, I think it's really, really great, really nicely done. Thank you for that.
Paul, Elliot. The quality of your execution is always very, very high. That's really great. And you giving a voice to a European legacy, the flax linen, very well done.
Bruno, you are giving us, you are showing us the complexity of the design field in a very authentic way, and you do it in a very experimental, fun, and serious way, and thank you very much for that.
Faye, it's a bit like Alice in Wonderland, but then trying to make the world a bit better. So great, thank you.
I need to learn Asian languages. Hsin Min, how you pronounce it? Can I ask this? Yes, sorry. Hsin Min. I'm sorry that I didn't ask you before. Your work is so impactful. I get goosebumps from it, and it really touches me. I think all of us actually. And the piece itself is amazing. So I hope you go on with this good work, and well done.
So these were the 9 designers. And the way you presented it, it almost seemed like there were 9 winners. But unfortunately, there are only 8 winners and 1 overall winner. Something like that?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Shall we give the honor to Lami? No? Yeah? Shall we say it?
Yeah, I think one of you has to say it.
Shall we say it all together? No?
Okay, Annemoon,
Okay.
knock it off. The people are really getting nervous now. The winner, I'll introduce you. The winner of the 3rd edition of the Kazerne Design Award, winning a prize money of €5,000 by Loyola Foundation. And of course, eternal fame. The winner of that Kazerne Design Award is...
Ruben.
Ruben, you can come to stage, please. Congratulations. Can I invite to the stage, please, Lami Niesing of Loyola Foundation to present you
Oh, that was horrible.
this enormous check. And where is the photographer? Are you ready? The moment. Yeah, I hear the sound of clicking. Congratulations, Ruben. Can you stay on?
I'm gonna put this here.
Yeah, no, just cling to it. Can you make that sound, please, one more time when you heard you were winning?
I really
Something
did
like that.
expect it. Yeah.
But it came from the heart.
Yes.
That makes sure.
Yeah.
Okay, are you surprised that you've won?
It feels like it was the worst presentation in my life. So
yeah.
I feel like I fucked it up.
Well, as was said before, the project itself speaks for itself. So, can I have please one more round of applause for Ruben Warnshuis? And having said that, I would very much like to have all the designers on stage, all the other 8 winners of tonight. Please come to the stage. Yes, a big round of applause. Come on. You all did great. Here you are, photo moment. The flowers are coming. And here they are, the 9 winners of the Kazerne Design Award 2022. Can I also invite the jury on stage now for the photo moment? Kiki, Anne, Moon, please. And also on stage, yes, the representatives of the Loyola Foundation. We call it an end. One photo now, while everybody's there. One photo there. Ruben, you got the check? Ruben, you got the check? Yes. Okay. It's not a blank check. Okay. Everybody, thank you so much for being here. And for the final words, I give it to Annemoon. Don't cry, eh, Moon?
No tears and talks anymore today. For the last 3 years, we had the Loyola Foundation sponsoring this prize, not only with money, but also with your thoughts, your remarks, everything we talked about. It was enthusiasm. Yeah, it was really a great pleasure to have you into this process, into this great prize. And yeah, now we need to find something new, so someone new. So I call on you. But for now, I want to thank you. And it's just a small gift, but. And also for my colleagues of the jury, I have a small gift to thank you for all of your time, enthusiasm indeed, and yeah, I hope we stay in touch for the next prizes, and yeah, maybe we can have you as a kind of a board of it as advice or something. Yeah. So let's stay in touch for sure. Also, Jeroen, thank you. Yeah, well, thank you all. I hope you enjoy all of the exhibitions. Please take a look at the work, have a nice drink. And there's also a beautiful presentation in the small boardroom on the left side of the restaurant, and also at the small room at the right side, seeing it from here. And now let's get drunk.